Good afternoon. Welcome back to Near Post Flick On. Right, so Tottenham have sacked their manager, Thomas Frank. Was this the right decision? Yes, I believe it was the right decision because, Tottenham find themselves in a sticky situation at the moment. They're 16th in the league. They've only won 2 league games in 17 matches. 2 league games in 17 matches is absolutely pathetic and it's ridiculous for a club like Spurs. That's relegation form. And if Tottenham aren't careful, they'll find themselves playing in the Championship next season. So absolutely the board got it right by sacking Thomas Frank. Reason being is because you just can't afford the risk. If they stick with him and give him plenty more chances or give him more time, they run the risk of ending up playing Championship football and they will get relegated. So they did the right thing by getting rid of him because at the end of the day, time is not what he needs. He's had that moment and it's just not working. It's not working. Everybody can see it. The fans have been screaming for change for the past weeks. You go to the stadium, you hear them booing. Not just him. The players have to be accountable as well. They haven't really given the best performances. But at the end of the day, the buck stops with the manager. And if the manager isn't able to kind of galvanise his side and deliver on the pitch when it matters, then yeah, you have to go. You have to go. It's a shame. It's a shame because I think, he's a nice guy. But unfortunately, on this occasion, nice guys finished last. And so Tottenham made the right decision to get rid of him. I'm sure they wish him well. I'm sure it's all amicable. But at the end of the day, Tottenham need 3 points. They need 3 points. They need results ASAP, because they will find themselves in a relegation dogfight and they don't have games, There's only, 12, 13 games left to go. They haven't got the time. They've got to act now. And I think the owners or the board were brave and they grew some balls in making that decision to get rid of him. You speak to any Tottenham fan, I don't think there's any Tottenham fan out there that think this isn't the right decision. I don't think there's a Tottenham fan out there that thinks this isn't the right decision. It's absolutely the right decision. They had to get rid of him, So I think, yes, they gave it a go and it didn't work out. And it's a shame because Tottenham's season apart from winning the Europa League, they had an awful season last season. They had an awful season. So you'd think anybody coming in, the objective was don't get relegated and just put in a better performance. So it's not a hard objective to meet. But he hasn't met it. He hasn't met it. You tell me what the difference is between what he's doing now and what Ange did last season. Yes, we are still in the Champions League. They will say that, oh yeah, we're still in the Champions League and that's positive. Yes, Spurs are still in the Champions League. However, the results haven't been great. We've got to be honest. The results haven't been great and I think the board made the correct decision and he had to go. And I think that game against Newcastle was definitely the last straw. And you can see in every game that Tottenham was losing, you can see that, okay, when is it going to happen? When are they going to sack him? Okay, yeah, the board will give him a little bit more time. So he was getting chances after chances, but he just wasn't turning it around. And if you're not turning it around at this level, you have to be shown the door. And he was shown the door, rightly so. Yeah, Thomas Frank, great guy, I'm sure. But at the end of the day, it's a results game. It's a results game, and he just didn't do it when it mattered. And as I say, the players should be held accountable as well because they haven't given the best performances either. So there is a level of accountability that needs to be laid on the players as well. But fundamentally, though, the buck stops with the manager. He was brought in. He was brought in. He was given an objective as to what he needs to do, and he hasn't met it. He's made it even worse. He's made it. How can you make it worse? I just don't understand. I'm lost for words. How can you make it worse? How do you go from Ange doing what he did last season and to Thomas Frank to doing what he did this season? It's just, it's unbelievable. It's absolutely unbelievable. But I think, Tottenham just need to get their act together and kind of focus on finding someone as soon as possible, whether that's on an interim basis or on a permanent basis. It doesn't matter, but they need to just focus on the football. And as I say, they need to start working on getting 3 points and accumulating some points. Otherwise, it's going to be a very hard-fought relegation dogfight. and Tottenham don't want that. And it's a shame. It's a shame. You finished 17th last season. You know, you've brought in a couple of players and you think, okay, cool. You had a good start to the season. Okay, you've had a couple of injuries. Yeah, that can't be helped. But then again, everybody else has injuries and you just have to do the best you can on the pitch. And if you don't, and you go on an awful run, this is what's going to happen. You know, you're going to find yourself in a relegation dogfight. And this is where we are. This is where Tottenham find themselves. And, you know, they need to get their act together as soon as possible. Otherwise, it will be a massive disaster. And I tell you what, Tottenham are good enough. Tottenham are good enough to win the Champions League. They are good enough to win the Champions League. And they may win the Champions League. Who knows? They may win the Champions League. But at the end of the day, I'm sure winning the Champions League is a priority. Of course it is. Of course it is. But at the same time, Tottenham don't want to get relegated. They do not want to be playing championship football next season. So they need to address this. They've addressed the manager's performance. They've sacked him. They've let him go. So they need to bring in somebody else now and then push on from there on in. But it has to be immediate. And the impact has to be immediate as well. You know, you haven't got time to mess about. You've just got to hit the ground running as soon as possible, you know. And yeah, so what's next? Who's next? Well, from what I hear, Roberto De Zerbi, he's been touted as, you know, the possible replacement for Thomas Frank. Now, yeah, he's got, okay, yeah, you could say he's got Premiership pedigree in the sense that he's managed Brighton Albion from 2022 to 2024. So he's got that experience, the Premier League experience. And I think he's currently managing Marseille. But at the end of the day, is he the perfect fit for Spurs? I don't know. Personally, I'd like to see Pochettino come back. I think that would be a great signing for Spurs. If they can bring back Poch, that would be massive. That would be massive. And I think he would be the guy to turn their fortunes around. But at the end of the day, you know, De Zerbi is the guy that they're putting forward, and he's the guy. So we'll see what happens. But for me personally, I'd like to see Pochettino return back to Spurs. I mean, some people are even saying bring back Klinsmann. But yeah, we'll see. Anyway, for now, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.